Yumon, blossoms of the springing ibei hanachal, page 274. My dear beloved friend, the pleasant Mr. Shazar, who grows and sprouts forth from the drops of paradise of the tzaddik, who is the root of the soul of the Messiah, the root of all the springs of wisdom, who can raise up and renew the whole world for the good, to bind and to drive you on to God, even though it's very distant from the holiness of Israel, and the essence of alienation, blessing and kindness and great peace. My beloved brother, my soul and my heart, the love of David and Jonathan is our love and will not be nullified ever, since it is not dependent on an ephemeral thing. He said, it is not dependent on an ephemeral thing. See 1 Samuel 18:20, chapters of the Fathers 5:19. Look well and consider the great and powerful miracle and amazing kindness that the Master of Wonders has double won for us at the time of darkness, who has opened our eyes and our hearts to see the point of real truth that never has been revealed from the days of the world, that is impossible to remove from our minds in any manner. Very sweet were the words of our sages of blessed memory when they alluded for us to our teacher with their words, Allah is like Rav Nachman, and Allah is like Rav Nachman, and Allah is like Nachmani, my comforter, the main salvation to come is only through faith, and the measure of faith is according to the leader of the generation. One must see, and the measure of faith is according to the leader of the generation. One must see to fill up the faith through the illumination of the tzaddik, who is the generality of the seven shepherds, who shepherds the faith to rectify it and to complete it, and the whole main faith of Israel. He drops down to the generation, and it is impossible to come to the tzaddik and to come near to the holiness, except precisely through brazenness, as in the statement of our sages of blessed memory, be bold like a leopard, and as it is written, you lead with your brazenness to the beautiful place of your holiness, meaning that through brazenness one enters the holiness. For there are shepherds of evil, and they are also the famous ones of the generation, and their main strength is through brazenness, and they are like dogs in their brazenness. The aspect of and the dogs of brazenness are the shepherds, and they are the face of the generation, is like the face of the dog, and therefore it is impossible to be safe from them from under their dominion, except by having very great brazenness, to stand against their evil brazenness, and by letting your will be strong against theirs. And similarly, it is impossible to be safe from all the obstacles and the disputers and the opponents, and to come close to the truth, except through holy brazenness. The author, in honor of the one who seeks and searches for the palace of truth, Mr. Shazar, great peace. My sweet brother, hold yourself, do not give yourself up. Be strong and strengthened, and do not let us be like the giant elephant and the camel, that even when he is led by his nose with a mouse, he does not kick at him. And all this is because of foolishness, that he does not know his own strength. But my wise and strong soul, gird up your loins like a mighty man, and steel yourself to fly like an eagle to the true tzaddik, who he is the aspect of Moses Messiah, who cures all the sick and the person in pain, blind, lame, leprous, and blemished. He removes souls from the depths of hell. He transforms the sense. He removes souls from the depths of hell. He transforms this sense into a sense, and willful sins into merits. Happy is the one who merits to come close still in his lifetime to the true tzaddik. Happy is he, happy is his portion. For the Satan has put his heart on this greatly now, to confuse the world. For Israel now are very close to the end, and they now have great yearnings and great longings for God that never was before in all the days of history, and everyone longs powerfully to God. Therefore the Satan has awakened and has planted a dispute between the tzaddikim And the man has established in the world many famous false figures until no one knows where the truth is. Therefore we greatly need to multiply our prayers and petitions to merit to come close to the truth. Tzaddik, truth and falsehood are the aspect of a king and a slave. Know that there are two types of palaces, and one lives a king, and in the second a slave, and both of them are completely similar to each other, and it is very difficult to distinguish between them, for there are many souls that come together until they are made into a house and a palace, for they join together, one to the other, until they are made into a foundation, and afterwards is made a tent, and then is built from them a house and a dwelling in which dwells truth, and whoever wants to find truth, it is found in this house and palace of the souls, from whom was made the dwelling of truth. And opposed to this, many souls connect together, and from them is made a house, and there is the dwelling of falsehood, which is the aspect of a slave. And behold, between the two houses mentioned above, it is possible to err, meaning between the truth and the falsehood, for the falsehood makes itself resemble the truth, for also there is a connection from it, for also there is a connection of many souls, until it is very difficult to distinguish between the truth and the falsehood, and it is possible for a person to err, and he does not know where he is the truth, and to what he should bring himself near. The light of my eyes, Mr. Z. Shazar, who fights and struggles to inherit the good life of the tzaddik, who awakens from sleep, people sleep away their lives through the stories of the earliest years, from where all 70 faces of the Torah are drawn. Happy is your portion that you merited to this peace and good life. There is a true tzaddik who merits to live a good life that lacks nothing. And here he precisely looks as though he is deaf, since he does not hear any sound of this world, for all the sounds of this world are only from deficiencies. For each one shouts about what he lacks, and even all the joys in the world are only because of a deficiency that was lacking and now is filled up, and therefore he is called deaf, because to him this world does not count at all, that he should listen to its deficiencies. And his good life is bread and water, but in his bread and water you can sense all the tastes and all the scents and all the sights of the world and all types of pleasure in the world, until you can live through them a good life in truth without any deficiency. There is a garden in which grow fruit and wondrous plants that have all the tastes and all the smells and all the sights of the world. And the whole world could live a truly good life through this garden. And over this garden is a gardener, whom they call a grubnik. That is a holy and supreme tzaddik, who is appointed over it, and tries always to fix the garden. And sometimes because of the sin of the generation, the gardener is lost, meaning that the light of this tzaddik is hidden and concealed, and the world cannot merit to know about him, and he is the gardener through whom they could all live a truly good life in the garden. And even though this gardener goes and says that he is the gardener, the world considers him insane, God forbid, and throws stones at him and banishes him, and therefore obviously he cannot work at repairing the garden. And because of this, everything that is in that garden certainly must come to an end and cease, since there's no one in charge there, meaning the gardener. And behold, even though certainly there are remarkable tzaddikim who have great wealth and great treasuries of spirituality, and they also boast that they live the good life, even so the ruination of the blemished ones of the world can damage even for them the taste and the smell and the other things mentioned above, and all the more so they do not have the strength to fix the world and to return to them the good life that they could live through the holy garden mentioned above, and therefore when also their good life is ruined, then their whole rectification is through the tzaddik of the greatest level, who is the aspect of death, who lives a good life that has no deficiency at all, and he gives to them to taste from his bread and water, and they sense in them all the tastes, etc. And also through this that which was damaged for them is repaired, and this tzaddik can repair also the good life of the whole world. And he informs them that the main damage of their good life came to them from the bad traits that the Satan put into them. And in that sense they do not have truth, and they corrupt judgments, and they turn their faces and take bribes, through who their vision is damaged, and through who obscene, literally dead and rotten language, their taste is damaged, so that all tastes have the taste of dead flesh, and through sexual immorality, literally, God forbid, their smell is ruined. And he warns them greatly to purify themselves from these sins, and then not only are their taste, and vision and smell repaired, but also they merit through this to find the lost gardener. And then the tzaddikim mentioned above admits the truth and tell the world that the whole rectification of the above mentioned tzaddikim themselves, and also the rectification of the whole world depends only on the deaf tzaddik. Nanach nachmon avachmon nachmon meyuman. Nanach nachmon nachmon meyuman. Nachmon meyuman. Nanach nachmon nachmon meyuman. To my beloved, who throws himself down and rolls about in dirt and mud for the point of truth, Mr. Zishazar, God is with you. He will not abandon you or weaken you. He will not abandon you or weaken you. He will not abandon you or weaken you. Do not be afraid and do not fall. He will not abandon you or weaken you. Do not be afraid and do not fall. Do not be afraid and do not fall. Do not be afraid and do not fall. It is upon us to praise and to say the full hollow and the great hollow, that precisely now in these our days we have a true holy and very, very awesome Rebbe and leader who is the cure for all our wounds. Whatever will be, through him there already is hope for our fates, even for the least worthy of us, for the sicker the person is, the greater the doctor he needs, and if the world would have merited also at least now to benefit from his light, already the world would have come to its rectification in perfection, and if the world would have merited also at least now to benefit from his light, already the world would have come to its rectification in perfection. God sends after us and calls us all the time and hints to us with hints to come close to his blessedness, and one must deepen and broaden his thoughts in this to understand the hints of the Blessed One. And sometimes a person is greatly aroused with great arousal to bind and to attach to the tzaddik. Upon him depends on the holiness of his Judaism. Precisely then the Satan fights against this greatly until he causes the person to become distanced and banished from the holiness of his Judaism to a place of desolated wilderness, a very dangerous place, and he waits for him to capture him in his nets. And then he can do something deranged, and what truly appears insane. No human intellect would agree to this. How he could attain this? But even so, because of his true arousal that he had, God grants him success, and he merits to pass over all the fences and obstacles and to break them all, until he merits to finish the matter in perfection. The great wisdom of all the wisdoms is not to be wise at all, rather to be sincere and straight in simplicity. Even someone who has a truly great mind must throw down all the wisdoms and work in the service of the Blessed One with simplicity and sincerity. And one must even act to do things that seem crazy in order to do the will of the Blessed One, for we need to roll around in all sorts of mud and dirt for the service of God and his mitzvahs, literally commandments, and not just for a mitzvah, but even everything that has in it the will of God is called a mitzvah. And one must roll himself about in all types of dirt and mud in order to fulfill a certain desire and to give pleasure to God. And when his love for God is so strong, then he is an aspect of a precious and very beloved son to God. For there is the aspect of a son who searches in the secret chambers of the king, love like a son, and there's the aspect of a servant who only does the work they give to him, and it is forbidden for him to ask any reason or explanation for his work. But there is a son who loves his father so much that because of the love he doubles an action of his servant. What a simple servant does, what a simple servant needs to do. What a simple servant needs to do, and even what a simple servant doesn't do. What a simple servant needs to do, and even what a simple servant doesn't do. And he goes and jumps into the great battle, into the teeth of the war and rolls around in all sorts of dirt and mud in order to provide a pleased spirit to his father. And even a simple servant would not do such types of work. And then when his father sees that his love is so strong until he throws himself into total servitude for his love, then he reveals to him also what would not be given over even to a son. For there are places into which even the son is forbidden to enter, meaning that there are concepts that also the son cannot grasp. But when the son throws away all his wisdom and throws himself into servitude, as mentioned above, through there he is, his father has mercy upon him and reveals to him what is not given even to his son. And he allows him to search in the hidden chambers of the king that are hidden and concealed exceptionally, until he merits to have revealed to him the aspect of a tzaddik who suffers evil and an evildoer who enjoys good. And he merits to raise up the judgment that has fallen into the abyss and to fix it. For he merits to grasp the concept of a tzaddik who suffers and a wicked one who receives good, which looks like a distortion of justice. And now, when he merits to grasp and to understand this is the aspect of rectification, above judgment, through a Rebbe of truth. With students, all the things mentioned above are done and rectified when a person goes after his intellect and his mind, and he can fall into many mistakes and stumbling blocks, and to come into great evils, God forbid, as already many have stumbled and fallen greatly through their evil wisdom, and they have erred and caused others to err. God spare us, for the main idea of Judaism is to go in sincerity and simplicity, without any cleverness, and without paying attention to one's own honor at all, just to see if there is honor to God in this or not, and if not, then for sure he will never stumble. The whole main rectification of the world depends on this, that all the ways of evil and erroneous wisdoms, from which are drawn also all types of heresies and atheism, will be nullified from the world, so that one may attach oneself in truth to the true tzaddik, who can repair everything, even in all the places and in all the things that happen to us. It is forbidden to cause oneself to despair, just to search after holiness at all times, and even if it seems to you, according to what you know in your soul, of the wounds of your heart and your pains, that your chance for attaining the holiness is very remote. Even so, you should do yours and search after it with all your strength. And even if it appears to you that after you have searched for many, many years, you still have not found it and have not attained any level of holiness at all, still you should search. You should search more and more, until if you are truly strong in this all the days of your life, God will have mercy upon you and will help you and aid you above the way of nature and human intelligence completely, until you will merit to pass over everything in peace and to finish the thing, to remove the holiness from the husks. The author, to my dear and beloved, like the pupil of my eye, who desires and digs to hold himself to the point of truth. Mr. Zishazar, the voice of song and salvation, is in the chambers of his heart. The Torah of God is exalted. The Torah of God makes soldiers. Learn it in faith. The Torah of God makes soldiers. Learn it in faith. The person must hasten himself greatly in order to be able to grab at least something. The days of our passing on are coming, and each and every day we come closer to the day of death, and it is imperative to go on this way without a doubt, whether it be close or far. But in any event, everything will pass like a passing shadow, and we need at least from now to start to have pity and mercy on ourselves, with true mercy to prepare our steps for the world to come, and to prepare provisions for such a distant way. And we are full of sins, mistakes, and willful sins, and terrible deliberate sins, and evil lusts, and much destruction, without measure or value or number, without measure or value or number. And we are very, very far from the purpose of life, and we still have not moved from the profane to the holy, even a hair's breadth, and we have to hurry to save our souls from the snare. And therefore let us strengthen and gird ourselves up with great alacrity to flee and to escape to the tzaddik, upon whom depends the complete rectification of our souls, and all the hope of Israel, who shines into us illumination of the will with such great power that he shines forever, without ceasing in all types of darkness that confront every person according to who he is. And through this he raises up from the aspect of annihilation to desire. The main work of the tzaddik is to select and to raise up the good from the depths of evil, and he raises up even the very fallen souls by finding in them merit, even the totally evil, the least worthy. All the time that the name Israel is called upon them, he searches and seeks and finds the smallest merits, and through that lifts them up also from the depths of evil, and the good is selected, and the evil is pushed away and nullified completely. And this is the aspect of the revelation of the Messiah, who will gather all the scattered from the four corners of the earth, that if he falls to where he falls, even if he falls to very deplorable ways that are the aspect of the filthy places, and even one who falls, God forbid, to doubts and suspicions against God, even so there's no despair in the world at all. And even one who falls, God forbid, to doubts and suspicions against God, even so there's no despair in the world at all, even if it appears to him that in his place God is not found there at all, God forbid, since he has fallen to such filthy places. God save us. Still he should strengthen himself and be brave and struggle passionately, to request and to seek and to search after the glory of God. And if you will question and search after the glory of God, and is sorry and yearns, and is sorry and yearns, and shouts to God, and desires to return to him, even though he does not know any way or path or advice or plan to rise up and to return from places like these, so far from God, what even if even though he does not know any way or path or advice or plan to rise up and to return from places like these, so far from God, and even so, through the searching and the seeking itself, that he searches and seeks for God, for the plagues of his glory. Through this itself he rises up in the essence of ascent, and the aspect of a descent for the sake of an ascent, and this itself is his repentance and his rectification. For through the descent that he has, he seeks and searches for the place of his glory, and through this, if he merits to search and to seek, well, then he merits to rise up in the essence of ascent to the aspect of ibei, where is the place of his glory, which is the root of everything. He draws from there new life force. The author pleads to the beloved of my heart, who desires and yearns to view the polished and hidden visions. Mr. Zishazar, be very, very strong, for happy are you that you have merited to touch such awesome wonders. In our days, a robber has come into our territory, and he is the head of all our afflictors, He has put an iron trap upon us. He hides snares in our ways. His eyes are sharp and his teeth gnash upon us, to ambush and to fall upon us, to destroy us and to annihilate us from our Judaism. And each and every day he renews his strength and overpowers us to make us drink from his cup of poison, and it is completely impossible to stand against him. Therefore God has done wonders with us, and has brought the cure before the blow, and has lowered to us the true tzaddik, chosen of the chosen tzaddikim, choice of the chosen tzaddikim, the flowing stream, the source of wisdom, to water the earth with wisdom and knowledge of God, with his profound advice and rectifications, to purify the defiled, to wash off the soiled, to find merit for the guilty, to redeem from the weight of sins, to atone for the insolent, to bring together the scattered, to release from prison the bound, to give freedom to the captives, the author. Faithful, one of my heart, Mr. Zishazar, the wise one who understands the truth. To discern who is the slave riding on the horse, and who is the true minister and ruler. May he who does new things renew for you a good and luminous year, so that the portals of your heart will shine with the light of knowledge of the tzaddik, with the true shepherd of Israel, for a good life, a long and true life, vigorous and refreshed. Vigorous and refreshed when the year comes to an end and to its termination in the last month of the year, the month of Elul, when the days are of the Zavavavayr and yearning for holiness. Certainly you then must arouse yourself greatly with great longing for God, to prepare yourself to receive the new creation of the new year, and to remind yourself that the holy Rosh Hashanah is coming, such a holy day that comes from where it comes, with very amazing liturgy and songs. Therefore the person needs to join himself also with this, and to pray the yin with new desire and enthusiasm, and to pray with new desire and enthusiasm, to draw upon himself the merit and strength of the true man of kindness, of very great stature, through whom is the main existence of the world and the entire creation, which was created then, as is written, this day Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of your deeds. In honor of the President, with God's help, blessed is God, in the honor of the President of Israel, the light of my heart, Mr. S.D. Shazar, who yearns and longs with all his heart for the awesome beggar who has broad shoulders, who carries us out of all the places to where we have fallen, to the aspect of being above place, blessing and love of life and peace. The true tzaddik, great with the highest stature, outstanding and very, very high, and the essence of greatness, after which there is no greatness, is able to lower himself very, very much, to lift up even the most utter distant, who lie in the lowliest possible place, until they have literally fallen to the aspect of death. And this is the main perfection of his high level, for it is impossible to rise up higher and higher, except by being able to go down lower and lower in order to raise up. And there are also all the most totally estranged and distant, and to attach also them to God in perfection. Oh, and gather also all the most totally estranged and distant, and to attach also them to God in perfection. No, that the whole main redemption of our souls and the redemption of the generality of all the souls of Israel depends only on this, that the light of the true tzaddik be revealed and shine throughout the world, the whole earth, or that the light of the true tzaddik be revealed and shine throughout the whole earth, and to raise up the banner of the tzaddik in the world until it becomes known to the whole world, that by attaching to the true tzaddik in truth, there will shine all the amazing lights that in the future will shine through our righteous Messiah, the author, the delight of my eye, who yearns and burns and blazes to ignite his heart with the hearts and the hearts of Israel to the true leader, the new and very awesome wonder, high and supreme above all the wonders of the Creator, who pours upon us from the waters of his wisdom and his new remedies, amazing wonders, in order to purify us from the defilement and poison of the too strong, in order to purify us from the defilements and poison of the too strong and bitter husks of atheism and false beliefs, of foolishness and error and vanity and total falsehood and idolatry, that gather strength with very great and powerful force, that terrorize and destroy and ruin the world. May God save his people Israel from them and from their defilements, and let there be fulfilled. Then shall I transform all the peoples to a clear language, so that all of them will call out in the name of God, the author. In our days a robber has come into our territory, and he is the head of all our afflictors. He has placed an iron trap upon us. He has hidden snares in our path. He has spread out nets for our feet. His eyes pierce and his teeth gnash upon us, to ambush and to fall upon us, to destroy us and to annihilate us from our Judaism. And each and every day he renews himself and empowers us. and overpowers us to make us drink from his cup of poison, and it is completely impossible for us to stand up against him. Therefore God has made wonders for us, and has brought the cure before the blow, and has lowered to us the true tzaddik, who is the Rebbe and unique leader of our generation, and all of the generations to come, the head and chosen of all the chosen tzaddikim, who waters the whole earth with wisdom and knowledge of God, with the rivers and streams of his wisdom and his deep and sincere rectifications and advice, to purify the defiled, to wash off the soiled, to whiten the stained, to give merit to the guilty, to atone for the insolent, to draw near the distant, to gather together the alienated and lost, to release from prison the bound, to revive the spirit of the lowly, to give joy to the heart of the depressed and the sad. Happy is one who merits to be saved from the erring and those lost in the darkness and gloom. Happy is one who merits to be saved from the erring and those lost in the darkness and gloom, who do not see and behold the light of the true tzaddik, who is the root of all the tzaddikim of all the generations, who will finish in perfection all the rectifications with which the tzaddikim of all the generations began to rectify the world. For even the great tzaddikim still did not yet finish this matter in perfection, and only he will complete all their rectifications, and will rectify the whole world with the essence of perfection. And in his great power, all the inhabitants of the world will return to God, so that all will fulfill the Torah. And he will subdue and nullify all the heresies and atheism, and will draw down great faith into the world in the essence of perfection, and he will illuminate the world with the revelation of divinity, with a very amazing revelation, the likes of which has not yet been heard or seen in all the days of the world. There are very, very fallen souls that have fallen so much without end in the shame of their sins, until it is impossible for them to return to God in any way, and it is impossible that they can have any rectification in the world except through the soul of the true tzaddik, who in his great power can release each one from all the places to which he has fallen, and raise him up and rectify him. And then the joy is very great, for there is no joy before the Blessed One, as when the very estranged returned in repentance. For God desires kindness and looks at the evildoer, and desires to justify him. And all the time that the person in his sins is distant from the Blessed One, it is very painful for him, as it were, and he thinks thoughts, so that the estranged should not become more estranged from him. And therefore when the tzaddik lifts up and rectifies the distant and the alienated, who are alienated and have fallen into the deepest depths of the deepest abyss, and he returns them to God. Through this the joy is very, very magnified. And when they return to the king his son, who was expelled from his face because of his sins, and because he was distanced, he damaged himself each time even more, since he had fallen in his own eyes, because he saw his great distance from the king, until he erred and thought that the king had sent him away forever, and he no longer waited for his son's return. As it is written, he will not believe further, and I am darkness. He will not believe further, and I am darkness. And in truth the king is suffering greatly all the time, and he remembers his exiled son at every moment. And finally someone has mercy on the king and on his son, and he goes to the vile place to where the son had fallen, and he gives him hints, and acts with him with amazing wisdom, and acts with him with amazing wisdom, amazingly wondrous, until he puts into him thoughts of repentance, and he returns him to the king. When the force of the poison of the serpent, which is the filthy places, becomes powerful, God forbid, and one becomes very distant from the holiness of his Judaism, and he is wandering and drifting about, and he is wandering and drifting about, and he is wandering and drifting about. And they push him away from his holiness all the time until they want to throw him down completely from the point of his Judaism. God forbid, and then awakens the holiness of the Israeli soul. And then precisely if he is strong and brave and starts to seek and to request and to search and starts to seek and to request and to search and to dig all the tzavah and to yearn and to love, to find the Blessed One. And even though many days and years still pass by, and he does not merit to find the Blessed One and to draw near to him, even so he should know and believe that at every time, through every search and request, and every seeking that he requests and seeks and searches to find the glorious holiness of the Blessed One, and through every look and longing that he looks and lifts his eyes to the mercies of the Blessed One, and through every movement that he returns to holiness, through all this he merits each time to break through walls of iron and doors of brass. And even though afterwards they overpower him each time even more, God save us, even so his effort is not in vain, God forbid, and no movement that he turns to holiness is lost. God forbid, for there must pass over him many periods, and many seas and rivers and depths, and exchanged waters must pass over him, and he must pass through many wildernesses, full of great and terrible snakes, and scorpions, until he merits to ever enter the gates of holiness and truth. And if he is strong and valiant, like a lion, to request and to search more, no matter what happens to him, certainly in the end he will merit to find the Blessed One, until he will merit to rise up in the essence of ascent. And all this is in the truth. And all this is in the strength of the true tzaddik, for without his great strength we would have no strength even to seek and to search at all. God forbid. We would drown, God forbid, and there would be no remedy, God forbid, for those who have fallen and been alienated from the holiness so much, and especially now that there are people who have fallen into the bottomless pit, and from where would they receive vitality and strength to arouse themselves more, to search and to seek the glory of the Blessed One, and to return to the Blessed One for certain. God forbid their hope would be lost, God have mercy. But in truth, with the strength of the true tzaddik merited to the aspect of Aye, where is his glory? Through this there is strength for all who have fallen, even into the filthy places, that they should search for God until they will rise up in the essence of sense. The true tzaddik always turns to kindness and finds good in every member of Israel, for he knows how to collect all the aspects of good hairs that can be found in each one of Israel, and through this he works at healing each one. And even if one is very, very ill with spiritual illness, he finds in him also good points, the aspect of hairs, meaning the extent to which he has pulled himself away from evil to good by hair's breadth. And this hair is like a tube and a vessel through which the tzaddik draws down also into him intelligence and simplified understandings until he brings into him divine comprehension. And this is the main greatness of the tzaddik, and he can heal even the sickest person, the author and arranger, who prays every day for your peace and success, and who is bound to your precious and pleasant soul at all times, always, with all my heart and all my soul in truth, and who seeks your peace and well-being and the peace of your dependence. Also I call out for the peace of our dear friend, Rabbi Yitzchak Gelbach, Rabbi Yitzchak Gelbach, Rabbi Yitzchak Gelbach, my dear heart who thinks my dear heart who thinks thoughts and schemes and involves how to magnify and to publicize in the world the name of the great and true tzaddik human the aspect of Moses, our teacher, who breaks and suppresses and eradicates and nullifies the false beliefs that darken the eyes of the world, and that hiding conceal the true tzaddik, and that separate the legs from the head, meaning that they separate the congregation of Israel, who are the aspect of legs, from the tzaddik, who is the head of the children of Israel, Rosh B'nai Yisrael Rebbe. And because of this, the world is lacking faith, and because of this, the secular wisdoms have gathered strength, and the books of heresy and apostasy that put hatred and animosity between Israel and their Father in heaven have multiplied. May God extend your days with true good and with true and eternal pleasantness. Happy are you for whom God has done such great and awesome things, pleasant one of my heart and my life. Whom God has raised up and elevated to the highest levels in order to merit him to the highest level beyond which there is no level, that he magnify and sanctify in all the worlds the name of the tzaddik, the faithful shepherd, and true merciful one, who gathers together all the alienated and love of us from all the places that they have wandered to, and brings them under the wings of the divine presence. Shechina, happy are you that you have merited this, that you have merited to this. May God lengthen your days and shine into your heart, and like the bread, the bravo, white, supremely hidden light of the ancient hidden Torah, the tzaddik whom God, our God, has sent to revitalize us in these our generations more than in his own life. The tzaddik whom our God has sent to revitalize us in these our generations more than in his own life, to redeem us with an eternal redemption after which there is no exile. One who is depressed should give a present to the tzaddik frequently. Through sadness, a person becomes weak. One who is depressed brings upon himself suffering, and by the ruining of happiness, sicknesses come upon him. One who is not sad and always is happy certainly will be elevated. Drawing close to the tzaddik gives happiness to the heart. When you see that people act brazenly against the tzaddik, know that certainly great wars will be aroused against that country. At night, if you feel fear at the time of sleep, do not travel by day when people forget God, and do not depend upon him. This causes them to fear the Gentiles. When Israel are united, the Gentiles are afraid of them. By taking advice from the tzaddik, through this you will merit salvation. Through sadness comes disgrace. Happy are you that God has done for you such great and awesome things. God has lifted you up and elevated you to the highest levels in order to merit you to the essence of the high, in order to merit you to the essence of the highest level, beyond which there is no higher level, that you lift up and magnify and make powerful with a very loud voice in all the worlds the name of the tzaddik, the true king, who will conquer the whole world without a war at all, who will conquer the whole world without a war at all, only through the sea of awesome wisdom that he reveals with his quill, through which he shines and draws the divinity and kingdom of the Blessed One to all inhabitants of the world, and all of the all the peoples of the world will come and convert and will accept Judaism and will give God the crown of the kingdom, until even all the most distant, all the peoples in the world will come and convert and give to God the crown of the kingdom, and all will accept the yoke of his kingdom to serve him as one unity. A good year and healing and salvation and honor to the President of Israel, who always resides in my heart, who carries his soul to the pathways of wisdom of the true sage, father of all the unique sages of the generations, the flowing streams, who illuminates the eyes of Israel to see the openings through which to escape from the darkness and from the flood waters of heresies and beliefs, of foolishness and error and futility and falsehood that are destroying the world. For this reason God has chosen him and has brought about many events and great wonders, until our holy friendship and union was established and fragranced. And from this was born to us an amazing child, who is called ibei hanachal, blossoms of the spring. And all are amazed, and all are amazed, and all are amazed. And struck. over him and receive him with great love and joy. For he waters Israel with the waters of truth, from which soon will sprout the redemption. For he waters Israel with the waters of truth, from which soon will sprout the redemption. The author, a good year and healing, a good year and healing and salvation. To the Honorable President of Israel, the light of my eyes, who always resides in my heart, Mr. Esti Shazar, who lifts up his soul to the pathways of wisdom of the true sage, father of all the unique sages of the generations, the flowing stream, who with his awesome wisdom illuminates the eyes of Israel to see how to escape from the darkness and from the floodwaters of heresies and faiths of foolishness and error and futility and falsehood. For this reason God has chosen him and has created many events and great wonders until our holy friendship and union was established and fragranced, from which was born to us the wondrous child who is called ibei hanachal, blossoms of the spring, and all are amazed, and dumbstruck over him, and receive him with great love and joy, for he waters Israel with the waters of truth, from which will sprout redemption. Soon may God heal you in perfection, and guard you from all evil and from every illness and pain. Amen and amen. Blessed is the good and the doer of good. Blessed is the healer of the sick. We are obliged to thank and to praise God for all the good that he has done with you and with all Israel, who gave your soul life and did not let your foot stumble. The letter from heaven, miracle of the Patek, taken from cassette recordings on Shabbos, Chanukah. Rabbi Nachman told a story that was partially forgotten. It involved the son of a king who wandered far away from his father and yearned very much. He received a letter from his father and was very happy because of it. He yearned very much, at least, to reach out a hand to his father, and if his father's hand were extended to him, he would grasp it and kiss it. He then realized that the letter was in the handwriting of the king himself. Therefore, he realized that the letter was in essence the hand of the king. From the conversations of the Sipur Masius in the year 5682, 1922, on the 17th of Tammuz, I felt a terrible weakness. Relates Rabbi Yisrael Adasser, the evil urge overcame me in the morning and said, "Behold, you are very weak. You need to eat." And I had not drunk or eaten from midnight until that morning. What I ate for the sake of precaution, as though eating damaging substances. But I ate for the sake of precaution. As though eating damaging substances. But without hands and without feet, without any enthusiasm. After eating, I recited the Grehis after meals and walked to the mikveh. You can imagine how my prayers went and how I felt after such a thing. From when I was with Rabbi Yisrael Kaduner, he had been careful about every fast in the Shulchan Aruch, especially the 17th of Tammuz, the most serious of the 4 major fast days. The most serious of the 4 major fast days. Already as a child, from the age of 6, I had been accustomed to fasting every Monday and Thursday. Yet now about today I stumbled and ate before praying. I did not want to live, and I fell into such dejection that I could not speak or be seen with people. I walked to the yeshiva and lay down in the synagogue in the yeshiva. Like a dead man, I did not speak nor eat for the next 6 days. Whoever entered the synagogue, including the yeshiva students, and saw Rabbi Yisrael Ber lying in such dejection, was afraid, for they were used to my always being happy and dancing, and had always been amazed at how Yisrael Ber could be happy. Why is he happy? He has no livelihood or bread for his children. Now they said that this Yisrael Ber was not the Yisrael Ber they knew. This Yisrael Ber had gone out of his mind, and such is the fate of all the Breslovers, that in the end they go out of their minds, for they walk at midnight to the fields and forests, and sometimes they are frightened by a dog or wild animal. And sometimes they walk at midnight to the fields and forests, and sometimes they are frightened by a dog or a wild animal or a Gentile, and therefore in the end they go crazy. I felt terribly dejected, and what they were saying now caused me even greater dejection, for for I felt that I was the cause of everything they were saying. In any event, I felt great pain and distress and did not want to live. I saw that my great sadness was causing a desecration of God's name and a disgrace to the breast of Chassidus. Then I did exploited this and prayed to the blessed one, blessed God, Master of the universe. Look at my situation, Master of the universe, Master of the universe. Look at my situation. It's true that I ate and did what I did, but I want to return to you. Heal me and remove. It's true that I ate and did what I did, but I want to return to you. Heal me and remove me from this situation, this sadness, for I am causing a desecration of your name and blemishing breast of Chassidus. Then I cried before the blessed God and said in the synagogue, Master of the universe, heal me so that I can escape from this sadness. A powerful thought came to me as though someone had entered my head and my mind. The thought said to me, go into your room. I was in the synagogue and my room was next to the synagogue. Go into your room and open the bookcase and put your hand on any book and remove it and open it, and there you will find a cure for your soul. I wanted a cure, and I had prayed. So I said in my heart, this thought of mine, is it a serious thing? Then I said, I'll try and see what happens. So I did this. I went from the synagogue into my room and opened the bookcase as the thought had said to me, and put my hand on a certain book and removed it and opened it. And there was this letter. At first I saw just a piece of paper and I did not know what it was doing in the book. Possibly it was a bookmark to indicate where I was learning. I did not pay attention to this piece of paper. In any event, afterwards I noticed that there were lines of writing on it. I started to read and I saw what was written. My precious student, I benefited greatly from your service. And the sign at the end of the whole letter, on the 17th of Tammuz, they will say that you are not fasting. On the 17th of Tammuz, they will say, this implies that the letter was written before the 17th of Tammuz. It was telling me a sign. On the 17th of Tammuz, they will say that you are not fasting. In any event, I read this. And just as before I had been so sad, now I received so much joy from this letter. Joy not of this world, that the sadness had no value, that the sadness had no value compared to the joy amidst such joy. I started to dance in my room, and the yeshiva students said, the crazy man is happy now, he's dancing. They all came into my room and watched me dancing, but I paid no attention to them. I danced and rejoiced until they gave in and took me aside. They stood in a circle with me in the middle. I danced for many hours that night until they became tired. They stood for a long time and said, he won't tire out, he will tire us out. We have no more strength. They left and I danced along the whole night. Anyway, it is impossible to describe and to relate adequately what had happened to me. Such sadness, such healing, such joy that I experienced. Very hard it was for me to descend to you, my precious student, to tell you that I benefited greatly from your service, and upon you I said, my fire will burn until the Messiah will come. Be strong and courageous in your service. And with this I shall reveal to you a secret, and it is full and heaped up from end to end. And with strong service you will understand it. And the sign is the 17th of Tammuz. They will say that you are not fasting.